Live taping at the John Paul Cook Club on the campus of Southern Illinois. The Saluki women coming off of a good week. They beat Indiana State on Friday night 76-64. They take down Illinois State 76-71. Crowd liked it. Did you like it, Coach Stein?
I definitely liked Friday night's game, especially after watching that, later that night. It was like that was actually an exciting game to watch. I mean, it's very up-tempo. I thought things were pretty smooth. We played, pretty well, so that was good. So, and then obviously Sunday, we got ugly real quick. So, but, if you got out ugly someone, I guess, that's at least be really good at it.
Saluki women are now 13-8. They are 6-3 in Missouri Valley Conference play. As we wrap up the first half, I thought your team grew up a lot on Friday night. You got down 9. You're playing without Diana Pierre, your two-time Valley all-conference player, and you found a way to come back, make shots, and win the game handily down the stretch.
Well, yeah, and I think that our team has gotten to the point where they're not panicking when they get down, and I think that, as long as we maintain a pretty good focus, that doesn't concern me so much. I felt like we were taking pretty good shots. They just weren't dropping, and especially when you're playing at home, you just have a lot more confidence that those things are eventually going to, fall.
Let's start off with Asia Washington, the senior, 11 points on Friday night. She had her first double-double since the conference tournament last year, 15 points and 11 rebounds on Sunday. I asked her in the post-game show, did you get new knees? But all the credit in the world goes to Kristen Trotter and the training staff and Asia for all the hard work she put in, and it finally paid off.
Did she say she got new knees? Well, Asia's, with the surgery that she had this summer, you just cannot, any type of surgery, you cannot determine specifically when a young lady is going to return to their full strength, if ever. And so you're always waiting for that. There's not a sure timetable that you can say, okay, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. And so with Asia, it's just taken a little bit longer. She's always going to have knee pain. I think anybody that's been an athlete, knows that any kind of injury when you're young, you're always going to have a little bit of pain after that, especially when it rains. So Asia's getting used to handling that a little bit, and then obviously I really felt like Asia came on strong on just having a will to help the team in any way she could, because she knew that obviously we were down a very significant player.
Diana Pierre is that significant player. What can you tell us about her? Obviously, this is day 9 since the injury at Missouri State.
Diana's getting better. We keep saying day to day. She's been released to actually have non-contact drills today in practice, so it'll be nice just to get her out on the court with the rest of the team, and I'm sure she prefers that over just running or defensive slides, which is all she's actually been able to do. So, we'll see how she feels today, and then, you go to the next. So, everyone wants to know, more specifically, is she going to be able to play Friday? And you don't know. You got to see how she does today, and then you got to see how she does the next day. And we're definitely not going to rush it. And I think with Diana, a lot of it's going to be how she feels physically, and then her mental state. She's going to have be pretty mentally tough going into a very physical game against Loyola, if that's the case, if we even have her at that point. And at this point, we can't say that yet.
The big three, Asia obviously one of them, but Selena Van Hefty and Kim Nebo, they really stepped up in her place. Friday night, they combined for 20 points and 18 rebounds. Sunday, they combined for 29 points and 18 rebounds. You joked on the pregame, I don't think one of these girls are going to step up and have a double-double. You nearly had 2 of them have a double-double.
Well, and that's the thing. You feel like Asia has, probably the most experience getting a double-double, but, with Asia, you don't know, literally, even during the game, how much she's going to last. So, you throw that out there, but, I will be happy for our kids to prove me wrong every time, especially when that happens. And now Diana thinks that she's got to score 29 points because, that's what they did. So, but I like those challenges, and I feel very confident about our posts. I like the way they play. They're playing really hard. Every single one of them presents something different to the other team, they just can't focus on one thing to stop our post. They've got to be able to know personnel pretty well because they all do something really well differently.
With Coach Cindy Stein, I'm Bryce Williams. The live taping at the John Paul Cook Club this Tuesday, the first Tuesday of February. Rashonda Napier had a great week, 19 points. Maybe the more impressive stat, 8 assists in 2 games, 16 combined in the 2 games. She had a really good week passing the ball.
She really did, and that's one of the things I really felt like Rashonda gets us going so much better. When she's up pushing the ball up the floor, making those easy passes, it's amazing, some of the things that you can do within the offense. And she did a really good job of seeing people up the floor, getting the ball to the open person, really getting the good timing of the pass off a screen, throwing over the top of defenses when you need to. And I just really liked her play. And she's really gauging too when she has to step up and hit a big shot for us versus when she has to get other people involved.
We're going to delete the last 2 minutes of the Illinois State game, but besides those last 2 minutes, your turnover numbers are really down. You're only averaging about 11 turnovers now per MVC contest, and that's got to be a number you're pretty happy with.
Yeah, anytime our turnovers are down, I'm pretty pleased just because I'd rather us miss a shot than have a turnover. So, and our kids know that if all else fails, we shoot. So that's just one of those fundamental things that our kids are getting pretty good at. And like I said, the Illinois State game, those last couple minutes, good thing we had a lead, huh? That was ridiculous.
SIU 13-8, the Saluki women 6-3 in Missouri Valley Conference play. We'll talk to junior Rashonda Napier coming up next. Coach Cindy Stein will preview Southern's next 2 games as well, at Loyola on Friday night, at Bradley on Sunday. That's when we come back. This is Inside Saluki Women's Basketball from Learfield Sports. Welcome back to Inside Saluki Women's Basketball. The SIU women's basketball team 13-8. They're 6-3 in Missouri Valley Conference play. We wrapped up the first half of Valley play with 2 wins. Indiana State 76-64 Friday night. Illinois State 76-71 on Sunday with junior Rashonda Napier, Burbank, California native. It was a fun weekend. You guys faced the challenge. No Diana Pierre, no problem, right?
Kind of right. I'd always rather be with her than without her, but this weekend we had to go without her, so she patted me on the top of my head like I was a little child. I'm like, listen, calm down, I'm not that small. But she said, you got to do this for me. You got to lead the team, you got to rally the troops. I'm like, okay, I got you. And we were able to get it done.
You were able to get out and run, get some easy baskets in transition. Cartasia, Carly Corrigan hit a couple big shots, and you were really looking to distribute the basketball instead of scoring as much as like you usually do.
I've got great teammates, great scorers that I play with that I'm surrounded with on the court. So getting them involved is a pretty good thing for us, and they make me look good a lot because when they're knocking down shots and running the floor hard, I'm able to just get them the ball and good things happen.
You like to act on the floor, and for fans, most fans don't know this, but you actually have an acting career. You grew up in Burbank, California. You acted at a very young age. How did that all become?
First people think, I am from Burbank, California, but I was actually born in Gainesville, Florida. Diana and Cartasia are clapping their hands right now because the Florida crew. Me and my brother, we started off in church doing monologues. Me and my brother used to do the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech together in church every February growing up. And my parents realized that we just had a talent for speaking and speaking in public more specifically, and they really nurtured that. And one day when my brother was 7, he said to my father, "Hey, Daddy, God told me to be an actor, so we need to move to California." And my dad said, "Okay, son, when you're 9, if you still feel like that, call me." My brother's 9th birthday, my brother blew out the candles, said, "Daddy, I'm 9, we gotta go to California." And now that I'm older and I can say that story again, I'm looking back, I'm like, man, my parents were crazy. Who would follow a 9-year-old to California? Like, what were they thinking? But 3 days later, we packed up everything in our car and we drove to California and started over.
What shows did you act on?
The more famous shows, I did Malcolm in the Middle and ER, and I did a show on MTV with Snoop Dogg called Doggy Fizzle Televizzle. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but we got one that has. And just a lot of short films.
6 brothers and sisters. You guys don't all act, right? You must have had some mad fights when you were young kids for position. Who was the favorite? Who was the least favorite?
It wasn't that hard. I'm the youngest girl, so by default, I'm the favorite because I was just the cutest and the most spoiled. So, it wasn't close.
Now here at SIU, you're a management major. You love to work with stocks, don't you?
Not stocks too much in particular, but I just like to look at finance and just economics and just make decisions based off of that. I do enjoy everything that I'm learning, and so I'm in the right spot.
You like numbers, 1,127 career points. You're now number 20 in school history and career scoring. How much does that mean, from the start of where you were when you got here to where you guys are now?
It means a lot, just the transition, just from going to, I could count on one hand how many collegiate career wins I had at the end of my freshman year, and now to count my wins I would have to take off my shoes. So that's a good thing for us. I just really like that turnaround, and it really means a lot.
Off to Chicago on Friday. I know you guys want to get back at Loyola. That was a game that really stood out. You really thought like you should have won that game.
Yes, we got to go back there at their place in Chicago, and we have to try to turn things around. We've seen everybody in our conference, so just doing this second half, we have to be a lot smarter and just make better decisions and just be a better team.
6-3, you kind of control your own destiny. It's a good spot to be in. You win out, you win the conference championship.
We should probably win out. That's a great idea. It's easier said than done, but my teammates are great. They're hard workers. They're mentally tough. So I feel confident riding out with this team that I have.
Started off on Friday.
Let's do it.
That's Rashonda Napier from Burbank, California, the junior, 1,127 points. She averaged 19 points and 8 assists in the 2 games last weekend. Cindy Stein back next to talk about Loyola and Bradley from the John Paul Cook Club on the campus of SIU. This is Saluki Women's Basketball from Learfield Sports. Welcome back to Inside Saluki Women's Basketball with Coach Cindy Stein. I'm Bryce Williams. SIU 13-8. They're 6-3 in Missouri Valley Conference play. Rashonda Napier, she has become more of an emotional player on the floor, hasn't she?
She has, and we've talked about that. In fact, is the fact that her leadership on the floor, when she's vocal, all our players on the floor are very, very engaged because she's engaging. And we got to obviously have her continue that, because I think that, we like to change a lot of things up, whether it's offense or defense. And so the better communication you have out there, the better our team plays.
You have like 3 or 4 captains now on the floor at all times. That's a good problem to have. Well,
we have really good leadership. So not just through our captains, I think our seniors provide good leadership as well. But it's just when you have a veteran group. I mean, now we're 3 years into what we're trying to do for the program, with all the fundamentals. Our kids know what's expected. We could throw out a test and they would ace it of exactly, how they're supposed to act off the court, on the court and academically. And our kids work hard in doing all 3 of those things well.
Okay, we're at the halfway point of the Valley season. 6-3 your record. Missouri State, Drake, and Northern Iowa are all 7-2. Loyola and SIU are at 6-3. You want to be in a better position, but you kind of control your own marbles from here on out. If you take care of business, you win the conference championship. It's that easy.
Well, I was just having the discussion earlier with one of our players, is the fact that this is where you find out what type of team you are, because a good team can become very average at this time, or a good team could become great. And that's what we want to make sure is that we're rising, because it becomes a long season right now. Some of the kids that don't get as many minutes can be discouraged, and they can be formulating attitudes, or their work ethic could drop off. Your seniors kind of looking beyond. You can have a lot of things that can happen, and so but those teams that stay very focused on what the mission is, they could become great teams, and they continue to work on their chemistry and get better in every single facet. And I really believe that this team has that special quality to it.
It's a challenging start to the second half with the Loyola Ramblers. You lost to them here at the arena 69-68 in overtime. It was a game where both teams had several chances to win. Taylor Johnson is Loyola's best player. She really hurt you, along with Taylor Manuel. It's the 2 Taylors, but what changes can you make this time around compared to last time?
Well, the last game we had a lot of miscommunication out there, especially defensively. There were some different things that we wanted to do that we never got into. And when you do that, you get back on your heels a little bit. I also felt like, we didn't quite score quite like we wanted to. We weren't seeing some of the early openings and gaps. And so I didn't feel like it was our best overall game. And I felt like Loyola played pretty well, but, Loyola outplayed us, plain and simple. So we've got to go up there and play on their home court and show some toughness and some resiliency to us and get the job done.
Some questions from the crowd. This from Roger. Coach, you have been playing a zone defense in some spots lately. How do you choose the times to change defenses?
Well, I think everybody that knows me knows that I absolutely hate zone defenses unless they're doing some kind of trapping. But at the same time, I think they're also significant. I like a more man-to-man defense, but we have continued to get a little bit better on reading, the drops and the rotations of the zone. So I felt like that was something that we practice on anyway in case we need it, and I felt like our kids were getting better at it. Our kids actually like playing zone a lot. When your other defense is dropping a little bit, you've got to think of something. So I felt like our last couple games we've had to change up defenses a little bit more because we did not have Diana in the middle, and there's a lot of teams, when you got a Diana Pierre in the middle, they don't go too far in there because they know usually they're going to get their shot blocked. So we've got to continue to utilize getting better in all facets, and the zone defense is going to be one of them.
With Coach Cindy Stein, I'm Bryce Williams. It's easier, though, to change defenses with an older ball club, right?
I'm not sure about that. You can try to justify that, Bryce. Honestly, and I'm not sure if I agree with that, so I hate to tell you that. But, honestly, I think that you've got a lot of high school kids or, freshmen that come in playing zone their entire 4 years of high school. So actually it's almost better sometimes when they're coming in as freshmen to play it. Plus, are you going to hold this here? Okay. So I know I'm ripping him today. I'm sorry. Does anybody have a violin? But anyway, back to the zone defense. I think that it doesn't matter what age people are, what class they're in, to be able to play a zone defense. It's all about your basketball IQ.
Jack Wisman would like to know which defense, zone or man-to-man, gives you the most problems offensively and why?
That's a really good question, and honestly, it's day to day. Because when you're hitting your outside shots, you'll tear up a zone, and when you're not hitting those outside shots, the zone's pretty effective. So a lot of it just depends on how we're hitting it.
On the road this week, one last question from the crowd. Coach Stein, who has the best director of basketball operations in Division I basketball?
Well, I think we all know it's Julie Beck. Now, she also might be the oldest. No, she has been scouting for someone older, but no. Julie does a great job, and she literally, I've never met someone that is so prepared in any kind of scenario. She plays through any kind of thing that could happen. Whether you're driving one way to a restaurant, she'll have 5 other options if you need it. So she does a tremendous job, and I don't know what we would do without her. I know our kids love her because she makes sure that they are fed and fed well.
SIU and Loyola Friday night, 7 o'clock, 6:40, the pregame show on WVZA. And then Sunday, Bradley, hey, they're playing better. Beat them the first time 75-49, but they just beat Wichita State. And, they're playing a lot. They played with Drake for a half, so they're improving.
Bradley is getting better, and I think that, Northern Iowa, for instance, knew that wasn't an easy game for them as well. And same thing with Brad. If Bradley's hitting their shots, it helps their defense, and they have a lot more life to them. But when they're not hitting their shots, they lose their confidence, and that's where you got to just attack them. And but they're a good group. They're very well coached, and we've got to make sure we're ready. And that's the key for us right now, is that you cannot underestimate and you can't overestimate anybody that you play. You got to bring your best every single day, expect their best, and have at it.
Have a good week, Coach.
All right, thanks, Bryce.
That's Coach Cindy Stein on the air Friday night at 6:40, 7 o'clock. The start, SIU and Loyola in Chicago, and then Southern plays Bradley. Super Bowl Sunday at 2 o'clock, 1:40 the pregame show on WVZA. For Rashonda Napier and Coach Cindy Stein, I'm Bryce Williams. Until Friday night, this was Saluki Basketball from Learfield Sports.